Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today? It's Friday.
It is Friday, yes. It's this year is flying to its end.
It certainly is, but at least the warm weather's finally arrived, which is nice to know.
Yeah. It's much needed. From where we were this week, they said that they couldn't get the cherries to color because it wasn't warm enough. So hopefully now it's going to speed up.
Yes, and the speeding up of the heat is going to be bringing the crops, and the crops need to go to the port, and that is our topic of discussion this morning.
Yeah, the first table grapes have been started to be harvested up in the Limpopo province.
Yes,
I see there's
yes,
already containers on the water already from up north. So it's going to be in the next maybe week or two. Namibia will be going. So
yeah. So our ports, look, our country's ports. We've known for a very long time that the ports are a challenge, and this has been everyone's spoken about it for more than a decade. But it's really coming to a head now because, well, here are two articles. Here's one from Eurofruit, and the heading is Fruit Exporters Remain Concerned About Cape Town's Port Problems. And then there's one in Fresh Plaza, which is Port Logistics and Plans to Keep South Africa's Deciduous Fruit Export Season Flowing. So you must know, when there's a joint statement by Transnet and the deciduous fruit industry going out, there's obviously a problem, and they are having to deal with this.
yeah, I see that the opening line in this FruitNet article is 3 of South Africa's leading fruit industry organizations say that they remain concerned in quote brackets, that the flow of produce exports out of Cape Town over the coming months will be hampered by logistical issues that continue to hamper the city's port. So it's the same old story. That's why I've also titled this thing Cape Town Port is trying. They say they are trying. So yes,
That word, they are trying. They have been trying for a long time.
yes. But,
that word's got two meanings, but yes.
okay, what's the other meaning?
They try our patience.
Oh.
They've been trying the patience of the industry for a very long time. Look, you know that the biggest export from Cape Town Harbour is fruit. It's the biggest export. And I mean, it's not like this is news. They've known this for a very long time. And it's one of the Western Cape's biggest incomes from exported fruit. So, you would think that government would do the appropriate planning and all the rest. But okay, it's not going to help to bash the government now. Let's just see what the problems are.
Yeah, it says, well, we were listed again at the bottom for the Global Container Handling Facility Index. However, there are some indicators that improvements may be around the corner. Well, around the corner in South Africa could be a very, very long corner. They didn't say if it's a slow bend or a quick bend. Earlier this month, sources told FruitNet that the government-owned conglomerate was going back to basics to improve performance. Now, again, it's South Africa. We don't know what their basics is. Versus, anyway.
Yeah.
In a joint statement issued by the Deciduous Fruit Bodies Hortgrowth Table Grape Association, SATI, the Fresh Produce Exporters Forum, FPEF, and Transnet itself, the groups revealed they were working to address various strategic and operational difficulties. Meetings continue every week to exchange information on expected fruit flows and the status of port operations throughout the season, but specifically during the peak of the stone fruit, table grape, and early pear season, the statement read. While the deciduous fruit industry is concerned about the physical flow of product through the Port of Cape Town in the coming season, at the most recent engagement, Transnet management committed to better planning, sourcing additional equipment, on-site maintenance capacity, and increasing availability of spares. That was a big thing because I think it was 2022, 2021. One of the cranes simply stood because there was a crack in the window. And the tender, because if there's any international people listening, in South Africa, everything's got to go onto tender. Then companies tender on providing that service or that equipment. And then once that tender is approved, then they get the go-ahead to do it. So it's a lengthy process. So that's why I said things are not simply around the corner. It's got to go through all these stages, and that might take weeks. And in that time,
Indeed.
that piece of machine is just standing there.
Something that's not in this article, but that has become clear over the last few years, the last 4 or 5 years, is that the crisis in the port, in the port of Cape Town specifically, Durban also has problems, but the crisis in the port has actually has made it necessary for all the fruit industries to really work together and to set up these planning forums with Transnet. And there's been a huge surge in cooperation between the various fruit kinds and with Fruit South Africa. And like they say here, meetings and ongoing negotiation to make it work. So this crisis has really brought the people together, the people that have to make things work. And the fruit industry is having like weekly meetings with the port authorities to make this happen. And I mean, that didn't used to happen in the past, but it's really, it's pushed this cooperation, which has been a good thing. And there's a far better level of working together. And I mean, that also comes through in this other article that we've got here.
Yeah, also something to note that people that don't know is that Cape Town Port is not part of the Western Cape government. It's part of national government. Transnet is a national government institution, whereas the Western Cape is run by the DA, and things just seem to work a lot better in the Western Cape. So, but there are certain strategic things that the national government don't want to give up to provincial control. And I do think
yeah, very important point.
If that was given up to provincial control, all this crap would have been sorted out long ago already.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so can we move on to the other article, which is in Fresh Plaza, Dewald?
Yes, it's up on the screen.
Yeah. So it says port logistics and plans to keep South Africa's deciduous fruit export season flowing. So this is a slightly more positive spin on thing. It's like, what are we going to do about it? So a joint statement by Transnet and deciduous fruit industry. So there you go. As I said, they are working together a lot more these days. The various fruit industry bodies, together with Transnet, continue to engage both on a strategic and operational level, specifically relating to the Port of Cape Town at the deciduous fruit export ramps up. Okay, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Meetings continue. Here we go. The weekly meetings to plan, and the feedback that they have received from Transnet presented an 8-point plan to improve efficiencies in the Port of Cape Town. They provide updates on the 8 focus areas, which include optimizing the port as a delivery platform, combating adverse weather conditions, improving truck operations, optimizing marine services, improving information sharing, visibility, terminal. So basically all the kind of stuff that one needs to do, they're putting in place. And don't forget, on top of all this, the operational stuff and infrastructure stuff that's required, Cape Town has a further problem in that very often the very high speeds of the southeaster wind we have in Cape Town impedes loading. So in addition to all these other issues, very often it's just the wind that stops loading as well.
And,
so
and on the note of the wind, what happens then is that because they can't load the containers, the ships are stuck in the harbor, which meant that they are being charged a berthing fee. And I've heard, I can't quote the exact number, but the figure I've heard is like 35,000 US a day that they are being charged to have the ship standing there. So if they can't load the containers and like halfway through the process, the ship is, well, he's got to stand there. Can't just go back out into the bay. And also if the wind's howling and they just lay out in the bay, it's delaying the other deliveries that's on the ship. So what has happened is that a lot of these ships have just said, well, screw this, we're just going to go. And then those containers that were supposed to be loaded is not loaded on the ships.
And what happened in the last 2 or 3 years is that the ships, everybody was waiting for the ships to come in, and then the ships take a look at the situation and the wind and the congestion and so on, and they just keep sailing past. So the stuff just never gets onto a ship. So if you're a fruit farmer and you are getting the best new varieties and the earliest stuff, and you're spending all your money to prepare your fruit to be ready for export, but it can't get onto a ship, you can see what that could do to an individual farmer, to that particular industry, and to the whole of the Western Cape economy.
Yes. There was what was the figure that we heard this week, that how many households do the South Africa, the Western Cape export fruit industry sustain? Wasn't it close to 1 million people? I said that's almost like a Cape Town sized community that it's sustaining.
Yes. I can't recall the figures, Dewald, but I do know that more than 50% of South Africa's exports, of the whole of South Africa's exports, are produced in the Western Cape. Remember, that includes wine and various other things, olives and a lot of stuff. So it's not just fresh produce. But for a province which is 10% of the country to produce 50% of the exports, that's telling you something. And those exports are mostly by sea. So you can see what an incredible handbrake the port is on our exports.
Yeah. Now, they will also talk about moving the container terminal to Saldanha, and we've also heard of people that's also probably not going to happen because of the iron ore that goes out of there. There's a lot of, the dust is an issue. They can't. You can't load containers with fresh produce and then everything's covered in dust. And that dust is so fine that it seeps in everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's also got.
Well, that's a problem for down the line, tomorrow, the next day, the next decade, or whatever. But right now, we need to get this fresh produce onto ships. So we really do hope that something's going to come of this. And it's not like this is a new problem. It's been ongoing for a long time. Government really should actually get with the program and realize how important this foreign capital income, what a big generator of foreign capital the fruit industry is, and they should really work at getting this sorted.
Yes.
So, and good luck to the fruit producers and everybody that's in these planning meetings and trying to make this work. I mean, really wishing you the best of luck, because there's a lot riding on this.
Yeah, the industry bodies are really doing a fantastic job, we must say. It's they've got the best interest of all the growers at heart, and thanks for fighting the fight for them.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for Friday. Let's hope that as we go down the road in November and December into the high season, that they can make contingency plans and get this sorted, because it's of cardinal importance.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. Thanks, guys.
That's us for Friday. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Cheerio.